If you must, let me state this simply. Grovel, entreat, or convince a woman to be with nothing kills you. You've already lost everything. Interest more quickly than a man attempting to persuade a woman that he deserves her. Give it some thought. When was the most recently you were impressed by someone who was pursuing persuasion? Doesn't precisely validate kindle love. It makes people feel sorry, and no man ought to desire a partnership. Founded on altruism, here is the brutal reality. Women feel sorry for men, but they don't fall for them because they are looking for confident males. Self-reliance and dignity when you begin persuading her to love or stay with you. In reality, what you're saying is that I'm not sufficient on my own, but kindly provide me with regardless. That isn't a message of, it is one of desperation and strength. Desperation is repulsive. Consider the strongest connections you've observed. Did the men ever fall in love? They were adamant about allowing the women make their own decisions and are attracted to men. They are confident in who they are if she, it seems as though you are reliant on her. Choice for your pleasure, she'll observe your week, and after that, now your interest will disappear like smoke. May question whether I can convince her. That's precisely what I should do instead. Here's a hint that we'll discover. It's not regarding being impolite or contemptuous. It's regarding presenting yourself as the winner. A self-assured man doesn't have to beg. He leaves with honor and allows this time. His absence speaks more than words. Men who wish to see this video should not influence or deceive women into liking. They are for men who wish to hold authority. Respect and establish relationships based on respect for one another isn't the solution. Music, unpersuasive, massive turnoff, and it's one of the main causes of women's loss. When you pursue someone, it generates interest. The message from which you derive your worth, this is incorrect. A man's value should never depend on the approval of a woman. Focus on experiencing your life rather than pursuing, be the man who is already full in life. Doesn't require approval from others. When you cease pursuing and begin living for yourself, things start to change and you start to. Women exude an innate sense of confidence. Drawn to this since it demonstrates an existence apart from them, it demonstrates you're grounded and safe, which is extremely attractive. Take a man who is passionate about his career. He isn't his buddies or his passions. Want anyone's approval, particularly not a lady he likes life. And as a result, women in particular, are drawn to men by nature. For him, there's no need to be desperate. Persuade anyone to like him because he's also occupied with leading the life he is creating. As an illustration, consider a man who has a pastime that he is extremely enthusiastic about, such as taking pictures or doing an instrument that he dedicates his time to enhancing his abilities to attend events and be among those who are interested in the same things as him. He encounters a woman one day who piques his curiosity, yet he doesn't alter his identity to rather of trying to impress her. He asks her to attend an event with him that's connected to his pastime. He's not paying attention to what she imagined him, relishing his desire, and giving her a preview of he's made a life for the woman who sees his confidence and enthusiasm become truly fascinated. Not because he was pursuing her, but since he was already leading a complete, fascinating life. And the important thing is that you're showing her that you don't want to chase her, that you are a man with a life of your own. His personal objectives and purpose, women wish to be with a man who doesn't require their feelings finished when you give up chasing and begin living, and the magic begins. Music occurs 2 times. Desperation is not. Desperation that is beautiful is one of the greatest deterrents to attraction when you beg for a woman's attention by acting desperate. You instantly lose value in why her eyes, since desperation is a sign of weakness. Claims that you don't think you're good sufficient by yourself, so you're overcompensating by making an excessive effort. To women are naturally inclined to win or lose. Repulsed by this since they're attracted to boost self-assurance and stability rather than. The reality is that neediness leads to desperation. More ways than you may think recognize that you're texting her all the time, looking for her acceptance, or attempting to spend each and every. There are obvious indications when you are with her. Of despair when you act in this manner, she is being exalted by you, And nobody desires a relationship with someone who worships them to the detriment, self-respect rather than desperation. Concentrate on gaining confidence. Being confident isn't about being cocky or claiming to be someone you're not. It's important to recognize your value and not looking for approval from others. A man who doesn't require a woman's endorsement to feel being proud of oneself is far more enticing. As opposed to someone who is always looking for comforting image, a man begins dating a person he truly enjoys when she doesn't reply to his text messages, he sends another one an hour later when, due to her busy schedule, she cancels plans, panics, and begins to inquire right away. Over time, when she's free once more, she observes that he's too eager and, rather than being flattered, she feels smothered and overpowered his. She loses interest out of desperation, and she finally draws away. So think about an additional man in the same circumstance. When he doesn't immediately respond, and she doesn't, he is aware of her tight schedule, so reconsider. And he needs to concentrate on his own life. He doesn't pursue when the strategy fails. Her for the upcoming occasion that he utilizes the time to hang out or work toward his goals out with pals. His cool-headedness attitude demonstrates to her that he is not in need. For her consideration, she starts to show respect. She becomes more interested in him as a result of he is self-assured enough to give her room. Women are driven away by desperation, but confidence usually brings them closer. Remind yourself to remain serene and self-assured. Assured is much more alluring than seeking her approval. 3. The strength of walking away. One of the best actions you can do is to go away. Is not about being able to make a man manipulative or frigid. It's about demonstrating respect for oneself when a lady feels that you are prepared to distance yourself from something that isn't helpful to you, conveys self-assurance and independence. Women find these qualities admirable because they are uncommon in a world where men who are frantically seeking attention consider while you remain in a circumstance where you're not respected. In essence, you're letting her know you'll put up with anything merely to spend time with her now, doesn't evoke admiration or appeal requests that she take you for granted. It's not about punishing her by leaving. The goal is to establish a benchmark for how most men treat you the way you want them to. Hesitant to leave because they believe it will result in the woman's permanent loss. However, the truth is that when you leave, you abruptly change the dynamic power. She is compelled to reconsider how much she values you. But the reality is that women are attracted to men who are steadfast in their limits. It's not a game human psychology if you are prepared to. By leaving, you show that you're not worried about losing her, which makes you are far more attractive. Relatable. Consider a moment when you desired anything you clung to because it was so awful. Even if it wasn't healthy for you, it was a friendship, a job, or a relationship. The more tenaciously you maintain you become further irritated because you weren't obtaining your desired outcome. But as soon as you let go, things began to abruptly switch to the opposite side, started observing your absence and you take the same idea more seriously. Apply here. When you go, you create room for her to see how valuable you are. If she doesn't return, you've saved her. Preventing yourself from being in a circumstance where you were underappreciated, yet you still won. Walking away has great power because it demonstrates that you're a man of principles, not begging, pursuing, or sacrificing you're standing tall and with self-respect. That's what distinguishes you from the women in a crowd. Don't desire a man who clings, wants a man who is aware of his music worth for. Be the winner, not the poor person. Among the most significant changes, a guy can alter his perspective on himself too frequently in connection with a woman. Men elevate women in their minds, that all the value belongs to them. This kind of thinking makes you a failure because it instantly diminishes your self-assured and reliant. The reality is you are the source of pride in any partnership, and whenever you begin to perceive yourself in that manner, when you behave as though you quit pursuing her because you are the prize approbation and instead concentrate on creating, you begin to realize that she values you. Recognize that your value isn't reliant on her decisions or focus. This change is innate to who you are. In thought will alter how you approach her in the manner that you act around her and the manner in which she answers you. Receiving the prize does not imply that conceited or egocentric. It's about realizing that you are deserving of respected. It's about understanding your limits and refusing to accept anything less than what is rightfully yours. When you think you're the prize, but you're not, you don't need to beg for attention. Love, you don't plead for her time. Instead, you place yourself in precarious positions, where she must catch your eye and love, just like everyone else would. It is much more common for a woman too. She will be grateful when she sees that you are not pursuing her in order to satisfy an emotional void. You'll get her respect because she is aware that you lead a life of his own with objectives, interests, and a feeling of intent when she regards you as a reward. She is aware that spending time with you is, she must earn something, not something. She may assume that this doesn't imply that you must be distant or play games. It just means that you stop underestimating you're a man of integrity, yourself, self-assurance and value. And any lady who ever wishes to be with you must acknowledge that she must demonstrate that she's deserving of your time, not the opposite. Being the prize doesn't mean being flawless or having everything together. It's about having confidence in your own worth when women will automatically begin to notice what you do. You're someone worth chasing instead of, as opposed to someone who always tries to. Their 5 women are looking for a challenge. It's uncertain, but wake up, folks. If you believe that being a dependable, decent guy is what will make her fall in love with you, gravely incorrect. Women are not interested in males who are always available, always saying yes, and constantly doing everything it takes to get their approval. That is monotonous, predictable, and to be honest, predictability is the final. This is what really attracts sparks. Women seek a challenge, according to the reality check. They're looking for someone that does more than just hand them all on a silver platter. And I don't want a man who is so simple to understand. Discovering that they become disinterested in the first. If you're the type of guy a couple weeks who is constantly at her mercy, you're denying her a motive to pursue you, battle for your interest, or even to value you. The partnership develops biased, and no woman desires that at this time. Avoid viewing this as a challenge. Does not imply being impolite or playing games. It entails living your own life. Hobbies and personal limits signifies having the disposition of a man who isn't accessible each time she messages or calls, requiring her to work for your respect, time, and attention. When you do this, you demonstrate to her that you're more than just I'm sure you're a man with choices, who doesn't focus their life on. As a matter of fact, some of you are so frantically seeking attention that you'll make a special effort to win over a woman. Even when you're not receiving the same effort in exchange, you may believe that if you simply continue to be kind or take a shower, show her love, and ultimately she'll fall for you. But it doesn't work that way. It is time to awaken and acknowledge that women are not attracted to males who are constantly, they fall for them when they need them. The men who possess the power and the autonomy to live their lives and force her to labor for their approval when you cease being so simple to understand. When you begin establishing limits and forcing her to somewhat pursue you, that's, as the attraction begins to develop, this is about more than just playing games. Demonstrating to her your worth and she doesn't have the time or energy to obtain by merely requesting that you're the prize, gratis. And after you act like that, and you'll see how swiftly things begin to confidence in shift 6 isn't just words. It's about taking action. Confidence is frequently misinterpreted by many men. Believe it's about saying the correct thing. Items that boast about their accomplishments or behaving arrogantly. But the reality is, being confident isn't about what you say. It's about women are able to see right through your hollow remarks. Real confidence is shown in a matter of seconds. By steady, unobtrusive behavior talk. Consider a man who tells he is confident in everyone, but continuously desires acceptance is just deluding himself. Being confident doesn't mean declaring how you're wonderful. It's about subtly demonstrating it. The way you conduct yourself is the how you respond to obstacles and how you remain composed when under pressure. Dishonest, but deeds never lie. A self-assured man doesn't have to elaborate. He doesn't have to ask for it himself. Approval or make others take attention of him. His behavior speaks for itself. Certainty if it's taking a position for his convictions or for pursuing his objectives without worrying about failing at them. His confidence stems from his capacity to act incapable of speaking. Here's something that women don't need to hear. They are concerned about your promises. Your assurance to her that being successful in the future does not imply, if you're not working on it, anything claiming that you're not like other males is useless if you're continuously behaving or second-guessing yourself. When you stop, your shaky confidence comes through. Describing yourself and beginning to live in conformity to your beliefs that you have observed it ahead of a man who isn't conventional attractive, well off, or too charming, still attracts women's attention. Why? Because he exudes confidence in each and every circumstance. He doesn't overthink his actions. He doesn't attempt to be someone he's not. His assurance isn't overt, but it's unquestionable. Let's talk about the guys now who believe that being too amiable or the path to a woman's success is to seek approval. Stop it. Women don't find it attractive. Men who go out of their way to avoid dispute or make themselves seem likable. Confidence comes from being steadfast in who you are, despite the fact that some people won't share your assurance. In taking action means following your passions, keeping your distance and demonstrating up regularly, but it's not about proving to her that you're sure it's regarding her seeing things through the way you live your life. Say less and do more. What makes a lasting impression? Music. Let her earn your respect after the seventh impression. Pay attention. It's time to change the course of events. An excessive number of men make the error of divert their focus as if it were some free gift, simply because a woman expresses interest in it. The truth is that your focus is priceless and among the most potent items you can provide, and it should never be distributed so effortlessly if you so choose. To be valued if you want her to respect you, you allowed her to capture your interest while you're always concentrating on her. She's being elevated by you and placing oneself in a scenario where you're basically constantly chasing, letting her know you're supporting her anytime and however she needs you. Despite her best efforts, the reality is, attraction doesn't work like that. Relationships are based on reciprocal respect, and one does not earn respect. Someone who consistently gives without receiving men who are inherently attractive to women are significant reliance and don't merely give free of charge their attention. If you're constantly accessible and responsive, immediately and consistently making her the focal point of your world, she will start to take you for granted. And the reason is that she is aware of your unwavering presence. Therefore, let's honestly, nobody appreciates what they don't. The hard truth is something you have to work for. You must if you want her to pursue you. Give up pursuing her and divert your focus. When she doesn't demonstrate that she's actually devoted to you, get her to invest some effort. But you don't have to pretend to be bored or play games. But it does imply that you must establish boundaries and not simply offer her everything without determining if she deserves it. When she is aware that she must earn your time and attention, you quickly move the dynamic power. She begins to notice that you possess worth and that you're not in need to win her approval, which is when she begins to put in more effort, be more interested, and regard. She'll begin to put in more effort to capture your interest since she is aware of it's not given freely. Therefore, here's how you create a real attraction by giving it some thought. If a woman doesn't make an effort, why should you continue to match your energy, giving her yours as soon as you allow? When she captures your interest, you cease being the chaser and begin acting as the person who has the authority. And when that occurs, the relationship's dynamic shifts. She starts to show you more respect and she'll probably want to spend time with you. 8 times as much esteem is worth as a lot of males seek out affection. From ladies without being aware that they're ignoring something much more significant: courtesy. It's true that affection feels fantastic. Reassuring it boosts your self-esteem and it makes you want to do something. But here's the sincerity. Love without deference is empty, transient, and ultimately it won't maintain a significant respect for relationships is the cornerstone. Of genuine connection is what establishes if a woman thinks you're a man she can respect and depend on. Without affection and respect become conditional. She may pay attention to you when it's suitable for her, or whenever she won't value you on a personal level. more profoundly, and when the love it frequently fades, leaving behind what's left if respect is lacking. Consider this for a moment. Women are capable of showing affection for someone she doesn't genuinely admire, can act affectionate, laugh, and smile, but it's all over if she doesn't respect you. She is motivated by respect at the surface level. To truly be concerned about your health, your objectives and restrictions are what prevents her from disregarding you. Or the error that many men make is crossing lines, is putting love before respect. They will stop at nothing to make her content, even if it means giving up their ideals, beliefs, or self-esteem. They turn into yes men who believe that having to agree or being too accommodating will convince her. But this just results in, when you don't stand, you lose her respect. Standing up for yourself when you lack your own voice, which she perceives and secretly is aware that she cannot completely respect or trust. Here's a man who doesn't value himself. The truth of being respected by a woman. Respect will inevitably be followed by affection. Lays the groundwork for you two to can thrive, and she will appreciate your time. To your ideas and back up your choices, she will view you as someone worth spending money on, rather than merely someone to stay around as a man for convenience. Getting respect should be your aim, not by requesting it, but by leading it generates it and enforces standards, bounds, and demonstrate your appreciation for yourself enough to refuse to accept anything less. Respect is paramount, particularly because whatever love she gives will be sincere and significant, not merely a brief gesture. 9, leave if she doesn't pick you. Honestly, if a lady isn't making a decision, you already know what she's going to do, and no amount of persuasion or convincing. Chasing will cause her to reconsider in truth, remaining in the hopes that she will only come around to harm your assurance. And the unpleasant reality of self-respect is that if she no longer sees your worth, probably won't. Therefore, that's your signal too. Too many men waste their time by walking away, an exertion on uninterested women. They believe that if I simply show her how much I'm hoping she'll see my value, but it isn't how attraction works. Functions when a woman doesn't pick you, it doesn't represent your worth. Rather, it's a representation of her tastes, circumstances, or priorities. And here's the thing that you are not supposed to fit into. Your role is to remain steadfast in her universe, staying put when someone transmits the message without choosing you, that you're prepared to accept, as it says, breadcrumbs, I don't think I can perform better. Thus, I'll accept anything you're prepared to donate. But the reality is, you are capable of more. There is a world of, there are women who will recognize your value, not requiring you to plead for it. And the walking away is the only way to locate them. From those who, it's not about walking away, resentment, or an attempt to make a point. It involves identifying when a scenario isn't working for you. Possessing the ability to depart is about appreciating enough of your time, effort, and feelings to save them from being wasted on someone who doesn't value them as well. And when you go, you're taking back your authority. You're stating that I'm more valuable than this. And this is the beauty of it. As you leave, frequently grow more appealing, which is why you are displaying self-assurance and respect for oneself, are two qualities that are generally attractive. A woman who observes, when you leave, you'll understand that she is not to be taken lightly. Might even begin to think twice about her choice. But by that time, you'll already moved on to more favorable prospects. Keep in mind that you are not here to persuade. Anyone can pick the right woman for you. Will pick you since she doesn't want to, after you pleaded with her to do so. If she doesn't, allow her to. It's not always possible to just walk away. It's the sole option available to a man who values 10. You're only as good looking as your self-worth. Your degree of personal value impacts how you are perceived by others, particularly women's self-esteem and confidence. Attraction begins with your perspective. Yourself, if you don't think that you won't have any money, and neither will she. Of attempting to please or acting as though make up for a lack of confidence in oneself. The reality is that women are inherently attracted to males who maintain a assurance rather than haughtiness. Yet a calm certainty that I am aware of my identity and I'm at ease with it. Yet this doesn't imply that you must have everything worked out. It implies that you must have faith in your possibilities and your capacity to develop, and in the issue is your personal value. occurs when men equate their value with outside confirmation, whether it comes from women's professional achievement or material belongings. If you depend on a woman's approval to boost your self-esteem, you allow her to control your feelings. And why does she think it's a turnoff? Since nobody desires to bear the weight of being another person's complete source of assurance, consider it. Have you ever seen a man who simply exudes charisma, even if he isn't conventionally attractive or rich, as a result of his self-assurance emanates from inside? Hence, he doesn't require people to validate his worth as he is aware of it previously, and that inner confidence is what makes him alluring. Yet this is where self-worth is really put to the test when don't go your way. Perhaps she's not returned the favor, or she will pull leaving without warning. A man with high self-worth remains intact in these. Sometimes he doesn't lose or beg, instead attempting to win her back. He understands that what she's doing doesn't. He respects himself, so define his worth. Enough to proceed knowing his value is not dependent on any one individual or result. It's not about ego to boost your self-esteem. It's about development and setting limits while following your interests and taking care of your physical health, emotionally and cognitively. It's about being aware that you are deserving of respect and not settling for anything less when you have faith in your own worth. And others will. Additionally, women are particularly attracted to guys who value themselves since it demonstrates they are able to show others respect. Therefore, start if you wish to look more appealing. Developing your self-worth by introspecting, and the remainder will come after. If you must, here's the bottom line. Convince a woman to join you. She was never really yours in the first place. Persuasion-based relationships aren't founded on respect for one another, or sincere compromise is the foundation of their appeal, as well as despair. But that's not the basis for all that is important to you are a valuable man. But only if you take action similar to one, stop chasing, one, stop persuading, and cease lowering your expectations only to keep a person who doesn't value you. Instead, concentrate on developing into the type of women and men prefer not to pick the same person. I want to hear it now, pleading to be selected. Have you ever discovered who you are? Attempting to convince a woman to remain or decide you, and describe how it transpired. I'll be reading your story in the comments, reading each one and establishing a connection as, this isn't simply about as many of you as I can concerning me speaking. It's about beginning a dialogue in which we can all develop and learn from one another. Keep in mind that the ideal woman doesn't have to be persuaded when you maintain you draw the relationships you deserve. The ultimate power is to actually deserve it. Move, I appreciate you watching. And as this is always the Stoic method of existence,